Hey, performer, welcome to the Creatively Performing Arts podcast. Are you ready to get back to your creative passion for singing, acting, and dancing again? Hi, I'm Estelle, beginner voice coach, performer, and Christian creative, and I know how it feels to want to use your God-given gifts, but to stay stuck in fear. The solution is to just get started. So, in this podcast, you'll find beginner singing and performing tips, inspiring interviews with artists, and help to push past your fear so you can finally start performing again. So, pause your Broadway playlist and take a vocal rest, because the show is starting and you're the star of it. Let's begin. Hi, my loves. Happy Monday, performers, lovely performers. How are you doing? Welcome to Creatively Performing Arts podcast. This is Stella here. I'm glad that you're here as always. How are you? As always, how are you doing? I hope you're doing well. I'm excited for today's episode. I hope you listened to the last couple of episodes. Our last interviews have been stunning, amazing. Make sure you listen to last week's episode with Mofetolu Music, of Mofetolu Music. That conversation was so beautiful, so joy-filled. Go ahead and listen to that episode. Oh my goodness, we are in the 90s. We're almost at our 100th episode. I'm so exciting. It's so exciting. I am so excited. And we should do like a giveaway or something. That would be fun. Yeah, so we'll do something fun for the 100th episode in a few weeks. But for today's episode, I'm going to be replaying a live that I did a couple of weeks ago before the Confident Performer free virtual workshop that I hosted a couple Thursdays ago on February 2nd. And I hope you enjoyed this live. I go in depth about like confidence and building confidence as a singer and a performer. So I think it'll be really inspiring for you. I do mention the workshop, of course, as if it's coming up. So if you are wanting the replay, however, of the virtual workshop, it's a free workshop. If you want the replay sent to you for free, you can go to the show notes and join the email list. I will send you the recording actually. So if you want the recording for the live workshop, I'm going to be sending that out this week. So if you sign up for the email list today, even if you sign up in the next few weeks, if you sign up throughout this week, anytime this week, I will make sure you get the free replay. So you'll get all the juicy good stuff that we talked about at the workshop. And I hope this live inspires you and encourages you and also gives you some tips. And I really hope that you will take the action step at the end. There is a call to action at the end for you to put yourself out there and to do something creative where you're kind of like putting yourself out there as a performer, as a singer. So please take that action and DM me or tag me in it to let me know that you did it. Even if it's in a small way, even if it's a small action step, it's still an action step. So please do that and let me know how it goes. I love you all and I appreciate you for always being here. So I can't wait for you to hear the live. If you enjoy this episode, or even if you're just on your phone right now and you haven't subscribed and you like this show, go ahead and subscribe. If you're on Apple Podcasts, you can just hit the plus button at the top right of the podcast app, and subscribe wherever you're listening to so that you don't miss an episode. And then also you can leave a review. If you leave a review, it'll help me know if you like the show. It'll help me know if you have any other ideas in mind. So if you wouldn't mind, if like this show has blessed you in any way and you just want to give a little blessing back, it would really help the show grow, and it will also help more creatives find the show, and you could help like so many more people find and start using their creative gifts, which isn't that so cool? Like, we're all in this together. So leave a review, please. That would be amazing. This show is for you. I'm here for you. I'm here to help encourage and inspire and to remind you that you have a God-given creative gifting in you that you can and hopefully will put out into the world and share and grow even in small ways. So leaving a review helps us to share that message with more people, and that's awesome. So thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting, and thank you for believing in your own God-given gifts and believing that you do have gifts that are worth taking the time to invest in, even by listening to a podcast episode every week, right? That is investing in your creative gifts. So I'm so proud of you for doing that. Yeah, you have a gift. You have a gift. And I just want to be here to remind you of that. All right. And you will be reminded of that as well in this live. So let's get into it. Without further ado, let's get into the episode. And that workshop, it's a free workshop, and it's really for anyone who, if you are like me, you grew up in the arts, you grew up loving theater, loving performing, but maybe at some point you kind of experienced some, hi, maybe at some point you kind of experienced some sort of pushback or some sort of like feeling like, this isn't really as important. This isn't really necessary. Who cares that I love theater? Like, what's the point of doing this the older I get? Or maybe you are older and you never did it and you wanted to, but you always kind of told yourself, oh, I'm not good enough. There's no point, blah, 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 right? I understand. And I completely get it because I felt that way. But I want you to know that it is important and it does matter. You have creative gifts that you did not plant in yourself. God, the God who created you, the creator of the world gave them to you, and He loves you so much, and He wants you to use those giftings. He wants you to do something with it. That creativity that you have, that interest you have in performing in theater, in singing and dancing, and sharing stories and storytelling through writing, through screenwriting, through poetry, whatever it is, like put it out there, do something with it. Don't let it die inside of you. And so, of course, there is fear, right? Whenever you come up against, okay, whenever you think, okay, this could be interesting. I'm interested in this. I want a creative outlet, or maybe you want a creative career, or maybe you want a creative side hustle. And you're like, this could be interesting. Maybe I could try this. Or you see an audition posting in your neighborhood or in your region, your city, your town or whatever. And you're like, this could be fun to do. Immediately fear, right? Immediately self-doubt, immediately questioning, am I sure? Should I actually do this? Blah, 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 right? Immediately. I get it. I understand, honey. But that's not the end of the story. And it doesn't have to be the end of the story. And so, how do you build confidence to then take that step of, going to that dance class or auditioning for the show or putting your music out there, writing a song, putting pen to paper? How do you get the confidence to do that and like be able to say, I'm an artist? Like, it took me so long to be able to say, like, I'm an artist, like, I'm a performer, and this is what I love to do, and this is what I'm doing. And it's like this fear of like not being good enough or not being seen as good enough, rather. I understand that. But you're never going to like get to some like pinnacle point of being perfect. And at the same time, you're never going to grow if you don't start. You're never going to get better if you don't start. And sometimes we just need that reminder. And so I was talking on my TikTok about how something I've learned having grown up performing throughout my entire life, and then also being really intentional about growing as a performer throughout these last 3 years, and sharing by sharing videos of myself online and doing covers and performing whenever I get the chance, and of course like leading worship, praise and worship at church, and which isn't a performance but is definitely has some, there's a level of like being able to have faith that God is going to work through you and move through you. And you know when it comes to doing all of these things, the confidence comes the more that you do it, and at the same time it helps to know your voice beforehand and have some level of understanding of what you're going to do when you get on stage, what are you going to do when you turn on the camera, what you're going to do when you are singing in front of a group of people, or in singing in an audition or acting in an audition. So I say singing and performing because this can apply to maybe you're performing slam poetry or poetry, or I said slam poetry and I was like beat poetry. I don't know. If you're performing poetry or spoken word, it could apply to you acting, performing in a role on stage or in front of the screen. It can apply to performing. But I love to specifically speak to singing because that's what is my number one like performing art form. And so, yes, what I've learned is that it helps to have some level of preparedness and preparation. And that's why I love talking about vocal warm ups. That's why I love talking about like creating a practice plan, which I help my students. I help my students from the first session they have with me. I started doing this at the end of last year. The very first session you have with me as my voice student, you are going to, as a beginner voice client, you are going to have a
practice plan. Like I send it to you immediately right after my tips for how you can start practicing and your vocal warm-ups, and like the structure is right there for you and you can just follow along, and it's so fun and easy, and it's based off of the lesson that we just had. And so I love doing that because the preparation and the knowing your voice and the practice and like that builds confidence in yourself, so that when you have a plan, you know how to warm up your voice. You know your voice, you understand how to take care of your voice when maybe it's, you're not feeling super great, or you understand the anatomy of your voice, you understand your registers. I just did a podcast episode last week, episode 89, all about mixing and the different registers, the chest voice, your head voice, and how do you mix the two, and what does that sound like. And I can definitely dig into that more if you want to know more, so let me know. But I did an episode on that, and that's so important to know. These like tactical things, understanding stage presence. How do you move when you're on stage? Like, do you choreograph? Like, what do you do? All these things help so that when you actually do perform on stage or in front of, in front of a casting team, or you submit an audition, self tape, or you post a cover of yourself singing or your own song online, you have this in mind. You already know how to, project. You already know how to sing through your mix, so that when you're singing your song that you just wrote, you're not overthinking, oh, I have to hit this high note, because you've practiced and you know your voice. And so, of course, there's that level of confidence. And at the same time, there is another level of confidence that you will never get to unless you start performing and you just put yourself out there. You just start. And that can look like, oh, wow, when I sing on stage, this is from personal experience, when I sing, I tend to, tighten my jaw more when I'm like in front of an audience because of nerves or anxiety, or, it's not even like I'm feeling super anxious, but like my body is like aware of like, oh, I want to make it really, really want to be great. So like I tighten up and I tighten and I use all these extra muscles to try to help myself sing, and it actually ends up causing tension. And so I wouldn't know that if I didn't perform and if I didn't experience that like performance natural stress of performing. And I wouldn't know about maybe planning what I'm gonna do in between and the pauses. When you're singing a song, there's like a pause and the instrumental is going, and you're posting like a video of yourself. I learned that, oh, maybe I should like have some ad libs, have some hums or something, or make sure that I'm really in the moment, so I can kind of like soak in the moment in the middle of that song, so that I'm not just like staring awkwardly at the camera. You don't think about that until you start, right? So there's a certain level of confidence that you get when you actually start doing the thing. By the way, for the podcast listeners, if you're hearing like a little jingle, that's my ring. This ring has like a heart on it, a heart charm on it, and so it's like jingling a little bit. I'm sorry if that is disruptive. Just know that's what that is. Anyway, point is, catch 22, yes, you need to perform to build confidence, and at the same time, there's a certain level of confidence that you can and ought to try to build before you put yourself out there. But don't use that as a crutch or an excuse not to put yourself out there, because then you're never going to get to the next level of like, oh, this is what I can work on now. So I just want to encourage you in that, to know that you can and you should start. Put yourself out there. Share something of yourself. Put yourself out there today, this week. Okay, this week at least, and tag me and let me know how it went. Do an audition, try something new, and know that you will build your confidence as you take that step. And there are certainly things that you can do beforehand to help you feel more confident, to help prepare you, to help um, with your practice beforehand. And I'd love to help with that too. DM me if you have any questions, but also DM me to say that I did it. Like, I want to know that you're doing this, and I would love to hear from you and to know and to be able to support you. So tag me, DM me if you put yourself out there, record yourself singing your favorite song, and just like share on your story. Super simple. So simple. It doesn't even have to be the whole song, of course. 2 lines. 2 lines. And tag me, because I'd love to see it, and I'd love to celebrate with you and say, go girl, go guy, go friend, go love. You did it. You did it. You put yourself out there. That is an incredible way to build confidence, and I'm so happy that you did it. And I'd love to say that to you. So make sure you do that. Tag me, share it with me, DM me, email me, all the things. I would love to hear you did it. And yeah, just know that it's both and you can start now. You can start today. And I'm here to cheer you on. If you want more of this, if you want more of like breaking down, like, okay, how do I get to know my voice? Basic warm ups, understanding my voice. If you want more of, small ways to practice singing and performing, like how do I train myself? How do I get comfortable on stage presence? How do I get comfortable in front of the camera, right? Camera presence, is that a thing? I don't know. Figuring out your why, understanding how to story tell from the stage, in front of the camera, how to own the stage, all those things. I can't wait to talk about that more in the workshop next week. So, as always, everything's going to be in the show notes if you're listening on the podcast, the live podcast recording, and then of course if you're watching this replay, it's going to be in my bio, of course. You can also just join the performing arts community. So thank you so much for being here, and I will talk to you later. Bye. Thank you so much for listening to another episode of the Creatively Performing Arts Podcast. I hope you feel encouraged, inspired, and truly impacted by today's episode. And if you can think of one person who would love this show, please share this episode with a friend. And if you wouldn't mind going to Apple Podcasts and leaving a review and rating, it will take 30 seconds and it would truly immensely help the show grow and reach more people who need to use their creative gifts as well. And finally, go to the Performing Arts community on Facebook and join this online free community for you to interact with and connect with other artists. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you so much, and I will talk to you later.